Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. I am on here about a minute early, so I'm actually going to wait a minute until the exact top of the hour, and then I'm not going to waste time. So I will start exactly at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and we will see what happens. Okay, let's see here. Okay, yep. Okay, so it is exactly top of the hour. 6 o'clock. So I am going to get started. So welcome everybody to this live where we are going to be talking about good routines and good habits to improve your health. Because as you are probably aware, good habits and good routines are a crucial part of what it takes to actually have and maintain good health. So without further ado, let's get started. My name is Anna Laura Brown, and I'd like to start off by introducing you a little bit about me, talking with you a little bit about me and exactly why I'm here doing this presentation. So I am what I like to call an autoimmune thriver. So I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's in 2018, which is an autoimmune condition of the thyroid. After probably struggling with symptoms, what my doctor had said for about 5 years, and it was a pretty long story and kind of a mess. And I, I'm finally starting to go into remission and actually feel a lot better today than what I used to. And one of the things that I've realized through that and through my training as a health and wellness coach is that a lot of people really struggle with maintaining those good healthy routines, those good health habits, and these are things that are really must to help have good health. And especially when you struggle with an autoimmune condition, then you really absolutely just have to have good habits and good routines in place, or you're just really never going to get into remission and you're never going to, like I say, thrive despite your autoimmunity rather than just survive. And so that is what has ignited my passion for this topic, and hence the class tonight that we're going to be talking about. I also graduated in 2015 from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. It's an online health coaching training certification. Ironically, yep, you caught that. It was 3 years before my autoimmune diagnosis. So at the time, I was definitely struggling with some symptoms, but didn't really know why. Partly went to health coaching school to try to help fix myself, as well as help learn how to help other people improve their health and well-being. And then, in 2018, when I got that diagnosis, that, started the path of that I'm down now with autoimmunity, and I host a podcast as well called Autoimmune Rehab. Podcast episode videos are uploaded here on YouTube, and that you can just listen to them, or the audio, of course, is on Apple, Spotify, Audible, all the different places. So again, that's Autoimmune Rehab. You can go search that. I primarily interview guests about their journeys to healing from autoimmune, but then also have some solo episodes where I talk about different topics related to autoimmunity. So let's get started. So, the first concept I want to talk about tonight is about why routines matter. So, why does having a good, healthy routine matter? Well, the first reason is that our bodies thrive on consistency. And you've probably heard the statement that I think came from Aristotle, if I'm not mistaken, that excellence is it becomes a habit, or something like that. So there's a lot of different quotes out there about habits and routines. And of course, Ben Franklin is known for saying, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And so, our bodies really thrive on consistency, and routines help reduce our stress and increase our energy level. So, if you're able to actually create those good, healthy routines and stick to them, you will have less stress and you will have more energy in your life. And healthy habits also become easier with repetition. So, the more you do them, the easier they become. I feel like this is true, especially with certain kinds of habits, like, for example, the habit of exercising. If you ever go, an extended time period without doing it, you'll find that it becomes a lot harder to stick to that routine. Whereas if you get in the habit of doing it on a regular basis, then, you stick to it a lot easier. Same thing with a lot of things like healthy eating and sleep and all different kinds of things. And so now I would like to talk with you a little bit about the science behind routines. So, a couple things to think about. So, routines regulate your circadian rhythm, otherwise known as your sleep wake cycle. So, if you've ever heard of, hopefully, you know what your circadian rhythm is. So, that's what determines, when you're asleep, when you're going to bed, what time you get up in the morning, if you wake up during the middle of the night, all those kinds of things. And having a consistent set routine can help to keep that regulated. And ultimately, you want a circadian rhythm that is circulated or that is regulated and controlled. Because if not, that can really ultimately affect your sleep and make it harder for you to have sleep, can give you insomnia issues, all different kinds of things. And they also help to improve your mental health by reducing decision fatigue. So if you've ever gotten overwhelmed and said, oh my gosh, there's all these different decisions. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure what and you just can't make a decision. If you actually have a consistent routine or routines, so I like to tell people they should have multiple routines, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes here, then you have a lot less of that decision fatigue when you have that. And habits also create structure and increase your chance of success in your health goals. So if you actually have good habits, you're more likely to succeed with your health goals. So what kinds of things are the key components of a healthy routine? So the first thing would be morning rituals. So things like hydration, sunlight, mindfulness, exercise, nutrition habits, meal prep, eating balanced meals, giving up sugar, which I'm a big advocate of, movement, daily physical activity, and your exercise, your sleep hygiene, and your stress management practices. All of these things create components of a good, healthy routine. And I like to tell people that you really should have, like I said, multiple routines. You should have a good, healthy routine for the morning, which consists of approximately the first hour to hour and a half after waking up. You should have a good routine for the evening, which consists of about an hour or so right before you go to bed and going to sleep. So, good sleep routine. And then you should have other mini routines that control what you do throughout the day. So, things like your health habits, your eating habits, how much exercise and movement you get throughout the day, different meal planning habits, routines, different things like that, and stick consistently with those routines as much as possible. So, morning routines that boost good health. What kinds of things should be part of a good morning routine? So, the first thing that should be part of it is you should be waking up at the same time each day, more or less. Now, I personally get up usually at around 5:30, especially on days when I have to go to work. Now, there's a little variation there because on days when I'm not working, whether it's a weekend or a holiday, or I have to be taking a day off, or I'm on vacation or whatever, then I'm typically not going to get up till closer to 6:30 or 7. And for some of you, that may seem really early. Some of you, that may seem really late. But, that's generally speaking what I do. And then you also want to drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning within an hour of waking up. And you want to make sure that you do that before you drink any tea or coffee or anything else that contains any kind of caffeine. And personally, I'm a big fan of not drinking caffeine at all. I feel like those things affect your thyroid, your adrenal glands. They can become addictive and all kinds of things. So I'm not a fan of any kind of soda, energy drink, coffee, tea, you name it, caffeinated tea. I am a fan of things like peppermint tea, chamomile tea, herbal teas that don't have caffeine. But yeah, drinking caffeine, period, is not something I'm a fan of. That if you are drinking caffeine, you really need to make sure you get a full eight, I would say 16 ounces even of water drinking before you consume that caffeine. And you want to get outside in some natural light. Ideally, you want to combine getting outside in natural light with some exercise. So either some kind of walking or movement. And I like to go exercise first thing in the morning for at least 30 minutes, usually about 3 times a week or so. It's usually swimming for me. And then on the other times, I have things like a Nintendo Switch with the dance routines, or I have what's called Alter, which is like a program with like a mirror and some stretching and dance and cardio exercises that I do, or, sometimes we'll even go walk my dog, different things like that. But I tell people that your body should get a minimum of 20 minutes of movement in within the first hour of getting out of bed. And I know if you're watching this and you have an autoimmune condition, you're probably thinking, oh, That's hard. I don't think I can do that. And I know that it can be. And I know for me it was for a long time. But back to the whole importance of consistency when it comes to your health routines is that I've noticed that when I am consistent about doing that, I find it much easier to continue doing it. If I go, a long period of time, like let's say even a week without doing it, then I find that I really, really struggle. So it's just really something that you really need to do. You also want to engage in developing nutrition habits that are part of your healthy morning routine. So that would be things like making sure that you get a nourishing breakfast, that you avoid eating any sugar at breakfast. Personally, I'm not a fan of eating sugar at all, but I'm really not a fan of eating sugar at breakfast because it immediately spikes your blood sugar first thing in the morning and is a massive mistake. So you definitely do not want to be consuming sugar as part of breakfast. So ideally, what do I consume for breakfast? Well, sometimes I do smoothies that have, like some fruit in it. So, there's like the fruit sugar, but no other sugar, protein shake type smoothie. Or I am a fan of also doing eggs with vegetables. I do that quite a bit. Sometimes we'll do gluten-free oatmeal, even like a quinoa cereal, something like that. But yeah, you want to be really careful what kind of things you consume, and you really want to avoid, like I said, eating anything too heavy, sugar, that kind of thing. And then you also want to do 5 to 10 minutes of stretching or deep breathing or some kind of meditation of some kind. I find that to be really, really beneficial first thing in the morning. Then I also recommend some sort of spiritual or inspirational reading. Personally, I'm a Christian and my faith is pretty important to me. So I incorporate reading scriptures and journaling and that kind of thing. But, if that's not your thing, find some other kind of motivational or inspirational reading to do. But you really want to start your day off right, because the reality is, in my opinion, a lot of these other routines and some of these things that we're going to be talking about, well, they may be really important. Your morning routine is really the most important because that is what sets you up for success for the rest of the day. Okay, so then your nutrition habits. So, what kinds of nutrition habits and nutrition routine should you develop on a daily basis to help you have good health? Well, the first thing you want to do is you want to plan your meals ahead to avoid last minute unhealthy choices. So there's a couple things I do. I like to meal prep ahead of time, things like quinoa, sometimes even sauteed vegetables, cooked chicken, turkey, fish, different things like that. I like to double batch my meals where I basically always have an extra leftovers from the previous dinner, especially. I will batch dinner meal prep and have extras left over. Another thing I also do is I like to keep a good supply of things like turkey burgers, sometimes even some frozen pizza that's gluten free, dairy free, because that's what I do, or frozen vegetables, just different things. I also will keep some protein bars, things on hand that I can eat as a healthy, quick meal so that I'm never just stuck with, oh, I just need to go eat out, or be tempted to eat sugar or junk or other things at dinner because I didn't plan ahead and prep for a healthy meal. And same thing happens with lunch as well. For me, since I work from home, I don't have to worry about, taking a lunch to work because I don't leave my house to go to work. But for those of you that do, you want to meal prep your lunches ahead. And that is what I did back when I was working in an office. So I just want to make sure that you do that. And then you also want to prioritize whole foods and minimize processed snacks. So you want to, excuse me, our snack examples would be things like carrots and peanut butter, of course, with no sugar, so it's just the peanuts. Things like celery sticks and hummus, nuts, apples, berries, different things like that for snacks. In other words, eat real whole food. And, maybe every once in a while you could have things like some chips or crackers, things like that. But you want to be really, really careful that your snacks are primarily good whole foods. You also want to stay hydrated throughout the day. So I have a Stanley Cup. Yes, I know. I fell into that fad, but I only have one. And I think I got it as part of bidding at a charity auction. But anyhow, I keep it full of water at my desk and I'm constantly drinking water throughout the day. You want to just make sure that you stay hydrated. And if you're thirsty, drink and drink and drink some more. And don't worry about how much you're drinking, because the reality is that very few of us actually get too much water. Then the other thing you want to do is you want to practice mindful eating. You want to slow down, chew thoroughly, be grateful for your food, consider praying over your food if that's something you do, and just slow down and relax when it comes to eating, and don't be in such a hurry to consume all your food. So that's another thing as well. Okay, so then now let's talk about some of the daily good habits for movement and exercise. So the first one is to include at least 20 to 30 minutes of movement daily. I like to do it in the morning, like I said, and then continue moving throughout the day as well. I strive to do a minimum of 5,000 steps per day with my counter. So I have an Oura ring on my finger that tracks on a phone. Then I also get tracks through my Apple phone, through my Health There and a ring and a few other things. And also, like I said, yeah, strive to get up and stand up for at least 5 minutes out of every hour. I like to also mix it up with walking, yoga, strength, dancing, all that kind of things, and create a consistent time slot and make it non-negotiable. In other words, for me, that time for me is primarily in the morning when I first get up out of bed. On the mornings that I go to the gym and swim, I literally get out of bed and I am out the door within 20 minutes of rising, and I'm at the gym within 30 minutes, and I'm in that pool. And that is a non-negotiable for me for at least 3 days a week, like I said. So that is, and then I like to mix it up by, like I said, doing some kinds of yoga and hot works and stretching and cardio and weights and other things too. And listen to your body and rest when needed. So if you do need to rest, like if you are having a day where you're really feeling rough, maybe if you have an autoimmune condition, you're having an autoimmune flare up, or if you're a female, you're on your menstrual cycle or something else like that, and you need to take a break, that's fine. But just realize that you don't want to take too long of a break, like I would say any more than a couple days, or it's going to make substantially harder for you when you need to go back and take it up again. Okay, so sleep routines. That's going to be the other thing, is thinking about your routines for sleep. So you want to do as much as you can to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day. For me, my bedtime is between 9:30 and 10, and that is what I stick to 90% of the time. Few times that I don't, it's usually because I've been out late attending some kind of a play or musical or symphony or something. But other than that, I am in bed by 9:30 to 10. Okay, you want to limit your screens for an hour before bed. Now, this I am not always as great at because I'm, for example, up late watching shows sometimes. So, for example, The Amazing Race is on tonight as I'm doing this live on a Wednesday during that season, and it ends at 10 p.m. in my time zone, and that's the time I need to go to bed. So, I will basically be watching right up until bed, which is not ideal, but sometimes that's just how it is. And create a relaxing wind down routine. So develop a routine, whether that's something like, sometimes I find sipping on a cup of, things like peppermint or chamomile tea, applying some different calming essential oils, maybe even taking a bath at night. I like to get into my infrared sauna at night a lot. It's whatever it takes and whatever you can do to wind your body down and keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet without a lot of lights and beeping and things like that. And minimize distractions and things to help you get good quality sleep, and make sure that the temperature is okay as well. So the other thing you want to do is take a look at your stress and emotional well-being routine as well. So you want to do things like daily journaling or gratitude practice. I have several posts up on my blog at annalaurabrown.com that give you some different questions, things like that. You want to engage in meditation or prayer, limit multitasking, and schedule time for rest and fun. So just some of the different things you can do. Tips for sticking to a routine. So, of course, we're talking about, these daily habits and daily routines that build good health. It literally means it needs to be a daily routine and you need to stick to it. So first thing is to start small with one habit at a time. So if you're coming at it where you haven't really been exercising every day or drinking the water, doing the healthy eating a lot of sugar in the morning, different things like that, you want to start by picking one small habit at a time that you can start with and stick to. You can track your progress. You can set reminders or alarms, and you can celebrate your wins and be kind to yourself when you slip up, because the reality is you will slip up every once in a while, but you really can do this, and I really believe in you. Then the next thing you want to do is to realize what will happen when you do actually stick to your healthy routines. So some of the things that I've noticed as a result of sticking to my healthy routines would be things like I get better sleep, I have more energy and focus, I have improved digestion, I have a stronger immune system, and I have a happier mood and less anxiety. So that's just some of the things that happen. And so what next steps should you take? So the first one is choose one area to start. Is that your sleep, your food, or your movement? Set a small specific goal for the week and reflect daily what helped or what got in my way of achieving this healthy habit lifestyle and healthy routine, and build gradually because this is a lifestyle and not a quick fix. So a couple of things I'd like to do to help you implement what we've been talking about today with healthy habits and healthy routines is, first of all, you'll find the link in the notes here to where you can go to my blog and grab your free copy of my Autoimmune Thrivers autoimmune checklist. This gives you different things to check off on a daily basis to make sure that you are developing and sticking with a healthy routine. And then, of course, I also offer free consultations where you can get on and talk to me for up to an hour about some of your health challenges and things like that. And I can give you some recommendations. This is not a high pitch sales thing. I do some limited coaching, but a lot of it is basically about me just seeing how I can help you, what kinds of referrals and references that I can give you, that kind of thing. So you'll also find the link in the description to that as well. Take care. Thank you for watching this presentation, and please share it with anybody else that you feel I could recommend. Please like it if you've enjoyed this, and please subscribe here on YouTube to this channel if you haven't done that already. Take care, and I look forward to sharing with you very soon on another video.